Alright lads, so the new GQ did drop last night, and unfortunately I wasn't able to beat it when it dropped. But at reset, as you can see by my score, I was just able to do that, and I will showcase that run in a few minutes. Before we do, let's talk about this week, right? This week is actually very tough. A lot harder than I expected it to be. I thought I was going to go in, breeze through it, but that was not the case. I barely just beat it with 2 max transcended characters. Now the team on your screen is not the best team to use. In fact, there are better teams out there that require less transcendence, but unfortunately with the way my account is, this is what I got to work, and this is just the best team that I can use to make it so I can beat this. Now if you are someone out there that can potentially beat it but just doesn't have enough DPS, do keep in mind that we are going to be getting the new power-up system in literally 3 days. So if you aren't able to beat it now, then you might be able to beat it when it comes back, or even in 3 days if you invest into the character straight away. For example, originally I actually had Uetsu in my team instead of the Ichigo, and it wasn't able to beat it. It was consistent at getting to the final boss. I was pretty much getting them to almost to the final bar, but it just didn't have enough DPS. So what I was going to do, I was going to invest into Byakuya and give him weak in defense, and that would hopefully be able to push my team to out DPS the enemy's HP, and I was hoping that that would be enough for my team to do enough damage to beat it under a minute. But an hour ago I actually did change my team with the idea that I'm going to be using Ichigo instead. Now let me explain why I do use this team. So Byakuya, now keep in mind he is a ranged character, so he doesn't get the melee attack damage ×2, but it doesn't matter. Byakuya is shown that he is one of the best Gyoku's characters in the game, for the sole reason that if you main him, you can constantly keep the enemies in a loop where they can never attack you, meaning that it doesn't come down to can your teammates survive to the final boss, it comes down to can your teammates do enough damage to beat it in under a minute. It makes guild quests very easy, especially if you have him max transcended like I do. So the idea is that we're going to keep the enemy in a constant loop using the vortex, and then we're just relying on the 2 teammates right here, the Grimmjow and the Ichigo, to do enough damage to beat it in under a minute. And as you can see right here, we just barely did that. Literally came down to the last seconds. Now one of the problems with this week is the weaken pools, right? It makes it very tough for this specific week because it pretty much gives you a tiny little gap where you can sit there and be safe. It also means your teammates have to make sure they are immune to weakening, because there's no other way around it. They're going to get inflicted otherwise, and if they do, they're pretty much going to die. Even if they aren't inflicted by weakening, they can still get one-shotted. For example, I was using Uetsu, and this Rukia right here pretty much always one-shot my Uetsu whenever she used an SA3. So I took off Uetsu, used Grimmjow for the idea that he's going to be able to do a lot of damage against the Heart boss, and then the Ichigo, who is max transcended, is going to constantly keep the boost active and should hopefully be enough to out DPS Uetsu when it comes to getting to the final boss, because he does have attribute advantage, and that's the idea that we used. So looking into this team, we have Byakuya max transcended again. This is not the best team, but it is able to work, and if you had better teammates, if you had better support, then you might be able to beat it without having any kind of transcendence, right? Especially when the new update does drop in 3 days, it will become a lot easier. So Byakuya, I gave the fortification pill, I gave him a hollow bay, and then I did give him a Sanga, all 30% SP. Not sure if this is the best build, but again, it just works with the team that I have been using. He's max transcended. I gave him triple 14 recharge links, and that was enough just to keep the enemy in place. Grimmjow, level 10 attack, Masanga, hollow bay, and also a Chappie, ensuring that he can do as much DPS as possible. If I had a golden Chappie, it would have been a lot better. In fact, if I had a golden Chappie for Heart or Tech, say for example I could use it on Uetsu too, I probably would have been able to beat it without having actually to whip out the Ichigo. But unfortunately I don't have golden Chappies for those two, so this is the best I can do, right? And then for the links, we have the Soifon, who is a normal attack damage plus weaken duration. We have the Shunsui, normal attack damage plus 20% and also weaken duration, again making it so my Grimmjow is immune to weakening and also getting that 20% NAD. And then for the last link, I did give him the Zangetsu, who is 25 NAD and 16 TR. Very, very good right there. And then Ichigo, because he is immune to weakening, I don't have to give him any kind of recharge slash weaken duration on link, so I just stacked him with full recharge, 1 being max transcended as a link, and that right there was enough to make it so I can do a lot of damage on the final boss, right? And also keep the boost active. So we gave him a Masanga, we gave him a fortification pill, and then we did give him a hollow bait. Again, max transcended. It's not the best team, but it works, right? So let's jump into the run. Alright lads, here we go, breaking down the run for this week and how I was able to beat it. So what I did straight away was run into the safe spot, right? This is where I want to be because you don't want to get inflicted by the weakening. The SA2 goes off straight away, keeping the enemy in place, and whenever that SA2 isn't active, we're going to use the SA1 and or SA3. Now this is actually a very bad position when the Rukia spawned, because I didn't have any kind of strong attacks ready to kill the mini-mobs, but we were fortunate enough that the Ichigo did let off a strong attack, and the Rukia was distracted on me. Again, at this point in time, again, we kind of messed up, so you can see that there are rooms extensive improvements here, because the Ichigo was distracted on the mini-mob, and he actually, I believe, used a strong attack, wasting DPS on an enemy that pretty much would have died to one strong attack from me. At this point, I used my soul bomb. He's 5 out of 5, so we were able to killing all the little guys right there. And at this point, I'm just dipping back into the weakening pools, using a strong attack and backing out because I don't want to get weakened, right? Now, this one is where it comes very tough. I unfortunately missed an SA1 right there, used my SA2, and back straight up there, and then we used the SA3. It was coming down to literally the last second. I knew it was going to be very close, and it was going to come down to if Ichigo could use a strong attack. And as you can see right here, last second, when it shows right now, there we go. He used his SA3. I used my SA3, and it was just enough to be able to beat this week. Again, very, very tough. Thanks to the weakening pulls, it doesn't make it easier. And with the team that I was using, unfortunately, with my Oetsu and my Grimmjow, they didn't have golden Sharpies, they didn't have level 10 focus, and it just wasn't enough DPS for them to actually be able to beat this week with just those two being the damage dealers, right? If I was able to ensure that my characters wouldn't die and I didn't need to use Byakuya, I would have used Ichigo as a main, but again, with Ichigo as the main, with those two as the side lanes, it comes down to RNG whether they can make it down to the end, because normally they're going to die by the time they get to the 5th boss, because they just aren't tanky enough, right? I don't have my level 10 defense or stamina. If I did, again, would have been a lot easier. That being said, lads, that was my run for the REAPER mini week of GQ. Not the best team out there, but it does work. Unfortunately, I can't show you any more runs because it's not too consistent, right? If I do take another ticket right now, it's probably going to be a while before I actually can beat it, and maybe I'll have to reset for like 20 minutes or so, but it was worth it in the end. I was able to beat it and showcasing it to you lads today. Now, if we actually look at next week, it's going to be the Aaroniero week, where you want to be bringing your range characters. So if you recently picked up the Kugo, he's going to be very good for that week. Same goes for the Fierce Battle Kisuke. Now, for me, what I'm probably going to do is actually bring the Halloween Soifon as a lead, because she is a boost character that can infinitely stack the boost and weaken defense, and then I'm going to hope that my Halloween Lynette and also my Fierce Battle Kisuke is enough to be actually able to beat this week. What the Ranger Ronkers do need is a flurry character with a boost, and maybe even recharge, because right now they don't really have any good boost characters that are going to be able to help them for this specific week. So that being said, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. In the comments below, let me know if you were able to beat this specific week. If you were, let me know what team you did use, and I'll see you lads in the next one. Peace.
Look at this shit.
Fuck!
Fuck this shit! Came in this fucking room and everything went fucking bad. Fuck this shit, man. Fuck.